For several months, astronomers observed the Three Eyes Atlas, the third interstellar visitor after Oumuamua and Borisov, tracking its strange green tail and unusual behavior as it rapidly entered the solar system. Most believed they were dealing with a mysterious object racing past the sun. But on September 19th, exactly at 2 o'clock in the morning UTC, everything changed. An amateur astronomer in Chile captured images of what no one was prepared for. 9 dim points of light surrounded Atlas, moving in perfect harmony with him, like fireflies orbiting a lantern. For several hours, the James Webb, Hubble, and very large telescopes confirmed the same thing. Three eyes. Atlas was not alone. He was accompanied by 10 objects that moved together and emitted the same strange light. What scientists soon discovered about these hidden satellites shocked astronomy to its core. Initially, professionals dismissed the images as noise or digital artifacts, errors caused when cameras capture cosmic rays. But Webb's infrared eyes and Hubble's precision dispelled all doubts. 9 smaller bodies indeed flew alongside the three-eyed Atlas, each maintaining the same trajectory and speed, each emitting the same sinister greenish glow. Spectral analysis confirmed what no one wanted to believe. These were not fragments torn from the main body, but independent objects with the same metallic composition as Atlas, nickel, cobalt, and exotic alloys that are not usually found in comets. Even stranger was the fact that, although the three-eyed Atlas had puzzled researchers with a thermal profile suggesting an energy source of 10 gigawatts, the satellites seemed to emit almost twice as much, 20 gigawatts each, contained within objects no larger than city blocks. In comparison, this is enough energy to illuminate entire countries, compressed into fragments of stone and ice. Natural processes do not create such things. Nature does not build small bodies with reactors inside. But if these were probes, if they were designed, the implications of this discovery are astounding. The most frightening part of this discovery was not their power, but their suddenness. For several weeks, telescopes around the world, both amateur and professional, had been closely monitoring Atlas. Even NASA missions like Juno and the Parker Solar Probe, as well as expeditions to Mercury and beyond, gathered data. None of them noticed the approach of these satellites. According to Avi Loeb from Harvard, 9 bodies were not just drifting into view. They appeared in a fraction of a millisecond, faster than a camera flash, faster than the blink of an eye. Our tools were simply not fast enough to capture the moment of their emergence. For astronomers, it seemed as if the very sky had changed in an instant. In one moment, a lone traveler; in the next, a convoy. The theories poured in. Did Atlas release them like mini-probes, deploying his drones upon entering the inner solar system? Were they in a dormant state until activated by the gravity or radiation of the sun? Or did they arrive from a completely different place, hiding in plain sight until the perfect moment to reveal themselves? In any case, their appearance was not a coincidence. It was intentional. When astrophysicists tried to model the energy profiles of the satellites, their computers failed. No matter how they altered the equations, temperature, density, or reactions of nuclear fusion or fission, the numbers stubbornly did not add up. It is impossible to contain such power emitted by these objects in something so small without technologies beyond our understanding. Exotic containment fields, catalysis of antimatter, even reactions with dark matter were proposed because ordinary physics could not explain it. Each of the 9 bodies turned out to be hotter, denser, and more energetic than the main apparatus, as if they were created for close approaches, while the Atlas remained at a distance. In other words, they were not just an escort. These were frontline agents with greater power than anything humanity had ever conceived. This realization sparked a wave of discussions in the scientific community as it implied intent. Someone had placed these objects here. Someone gave them impossible energy cores, and someone directed their path. When the images spread on the internet, ordinary people asked the obvious question: why weren't we told? Why did an amateur astronomer with a telescope on a hill need to discover what the world's most modern observatories missed? NASA and ESA only released vague statements acknowledging the observations but refused to provide the original spectra. Nonetheless, behind the scenes, a leak of documents revealed emergency meetings at the Pentagon, ESA headquarters, and the Chinese Space Agency, hinting at action plans ranging from interception missions to planetary defense protocols. Private space companies were quietly engaged in rapid launches, while European asteroid deflection projects were dusted off. Yet there was silence before the public. No warnings, no explanations, only carefully controlled assurances that there is no threat. But silence speaks louder than words, for if 9 hidden objects truly appeared near the three eyes of Atlas, each radiating more energy than entire nations, then the truth is already too great to be concealed. And governments understand this. When Ovi Loeb from Harvard analyzed the sudden appearance of 9 satellites, he proposed a theory that sent chills through the astronomical community, the mothership hypothesis. According to him, the three eyes of Atlas may not be a single entity, but rather a larger interstellar craft releasing probes as it approaches its destination, in this case, our solar system. The escort objects were not fragments or debris, but scouts intentionally deployed to maneuver closer to the planets, while the main apparatus remained at a distance. If so, it explains their denser energy signatures, synchronized orbits, and simultaneous appearance. The horrifying thought was that these probes were not just drifting. They had a mission. They were searching for resources, mapping planets, or simply observing us, the only intelligent species they could detect. For Loeb, one thing was clear. Such advanced probes do not appear by chance. They appear when they are meant to be seen. Not everyone agrees with Loeb. Some astronomers proposed a more natural explanation. The Atlas collided with a massive interstellar object, breaking into smaller fragments that maintained their speed and trajectory. This could theoretically explain the 9 satellites flying in formation, but almost immediately, the numbers shattered this theory. Fragments from collisions do not ignite like reactors. They do not emit 20 gigawatts each and, of course, do not form the same glowing green tails with the same exotic metallic composition as the parent object. The accuracy of their trajectories was too perfect, and the synchronization was too absolute. Even skeptics had to admit that the satellites behaved more like machines designed for a specific purpose than like comet debris. A natural explanation cracked under the weight of evidence, leaving only a hypothesis of creation, a truth most scientists were not ready to accept. But the oddities did not end there. From the opposite side of the sky, another interstellar object, C-2020-VR2, nicknamed Swan, was approaching. It was 100 times larger and brighter than the Atlas, with a tail 5 times wider than the full moon. Swan was to reach its closest point to the sun within a few days after the Atlas. 2 interstellar giants were approaching each other in a spatial corridor, accompanied by a fleet of hidden satellites, and all this happened in the same week of October. For many, this coincidence was too strange. Some speculated that Swan arrived as a protector to intercept Atlas and his companions before they could carry out their mission. Others expressed the opposite opinion, believing that both objects are part of a single operation, approaching the sun to exchange energy, data, or even cargo. Historians pointed out that records of unusual visitors with green tails date back a millennium, appearing approximately every 2,200 years. If these records are true, humanity has already encountered such beings and survived. But this time, survival was not guaranteed. While the public remained unaware, governments acted swiftly. A leak of memorandums revealed that urgent meetings were taking place at the Pentagon, the European Space Command, and the Chinese National Space Administration. The rough action plans covered everything from reconnaissance probes to planetary defense scenarios. Reportedly, China redirected resources from its Long March 9th rocket program to the design of a high-speed interceptor. The European Space Agency revisited the plans for its abandoned asteroid deflection mission, Don Quixote. Even private companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin were quietly involved in discussions about rapid launches, but there was silence in the public sphere. NASA refused to provide raw spectra from the James Webb Telescope. The European Space Agency did not comment on the situation, and the White House limited itself to a single sentence. "We are aware of the situation and are monitoring it." This silence only fueled paranoia, as 9 objects suddenly appeared, each radiating incredible power, and the world's most influential organizations responded not with openness, but with secrecy, hinting that the stakes were much higher than anyone dared to acknowledge. Perhaps the most alarming aspect of these objects was how they appeared. According to Harvard's analysis, 9 objects emerged in just 1 millisecond, much faster than any natural fragmentation process could occur. In comparison, a human blink lasts 300 milliseconds, while a camera flash lasts about 5. These objects appeared 30,000 times faster than a blink and 100 times faster than a flash. For astrophysicists, this meant one thing: they did not just appear randomly. They were deployed like a precision mechanism, activating at the right moment. Nothing we know about natural astronomy behaves this way. Comets disintegrate under pressure slowly, over hours or days. Asteroids shatter from impacts in a cascade of dust and fragments, but 9 symmetrical objects, radiating incredible power, emerged in perfect synchronization with the parent body in a millisecond. This is not astronomy. This is technology. Speculation soon arose about the purpose of these 9 objects. If they are probes, they might be intended for studying the planets of our solar system, while the main ship remains at a distance. Their powerful energy cores would be justified as they must withstand close encounters with worlds, atmospheres, and magnetic fields. However, some researchers warned of a dark possibility. 20 gigawatts of energy in such small objects is not just excessive for observation. This is a level of weaponry. Could they be collectors designed to extract resources or energy from planets and moons? Or, worse yet, could they be executioners? Machines intended to neutralize threats before the main ship continues its journey. Without communication, we remain in silence, and silence breeds fear. Since intention is invisible until it manifests in action, by then it may be too late to react. Historians also joined the discussion, pointing out that strange comets with green tails have been recorded throughout human history and in cycles of about 2,000 years. The Imperial Archives of China mention a celestial dragon in the year 200 BC. Babylonian tablets describe a splitting star, heralding disasters. Medieval European chronicles speak of a green banner in the sky around the year 1000. If these records are accurate, what we are witnessing may not be new, but rather a return of something that has visited our planet before. Could it be that every 2,200 years these objects approach the sun, leaving behind only mysterious stories that our ancestors tried to immortalize? If so, we are not the first to encounter this mystery. We are simply the first to do this with tools capable of truly seeing it, and this realization may be the most frightening. Humanity may not endure first contact, but face a recurring event preceding civilization itself. While the public speculates and wonders, behind closed doors, mobilization has already begun. Satellites for defense are being reconfigured, reconnaissance probes are being repurposed, and secret communications between space agencies are being strengthened. Reports indicate that China has accelerated its long-awaited planetary defense program, while Europe revives kinetic interceptor projects. The United States, silent in public, allegedly convened emergency committees at both NASA and the Pentagon, considering everything from nuclear readiness to signaling strategies. But the painful truth is, time is against us. With Atlas and its companions approaching perihelion in just a few weeks, we have no chance to develop new technology or organize coordinated defense. If these objects are hostile, we are already unprepared. And if not, then why the silence? Why the secrecy? Because perhaps the greatest fear lies not in what they are, but in what the recognition of their existence will do to us. In the days following the appearance of the 9 satellites, subtle anomalies began to be observed throughout the solar system. Magnetometers recorded weak synchronized pulses coinciding with the orbits of Atlas and its satellites, repeating every 43 seconds like a heartbeat. Seismographs in Antarctica, South America, and Asia detected ultra-low vibrations of non-tectonic origin. Even migrating animals, whales in the Pacific, birds in Europe, insects deep underground, altered their navigation routes as if their internal compasses were off course. These signals were not random, and their temporal synchronization perfectly matched the movements of the convoy. Some researchers began to whisper that the Earth itself is activating. Its magnetic skeleton resonates with something hidden within these objects. If this is a coincidence, it is the most perfectly matched in human history. If not, then 9 satellites were not just moving. They were tuning the solar system. Then, the most horrifying discovery occurred. Radio astronomers intercepted a directed energy pulse from one of the satellites, aimed not at Earth, but at the Moon. Its trajectory was precise, striking an area long known for its dense gravity and anomalies beneath the lunar crust. These anomalies had puzzled scientists for decades, hinting at structures or mass concentrations that traditional geology could not fully explain. Now, for the first time, they became a target. The signal was multi-layered, structured by amplitude and polarization. It was not a language, but a code. What if the Moon is not just a silent satellite, but a node in a much older system, dormant until its activation? Will these 9 satellites awaken something hidden beneath her surface? Something that was laid long before humanity took its first steps. If the Guardians are probes, then perhaps the moon never belonged to us? Despite the mounting evidence, the silence of world organizations only deepened. NASA refused to publish raw data from the James Webb Space Telescope. The European Space Agency evaded all requests, and China remained mysteriously silent, although reports of emergency launches had leaked. The White House issued a single statement: "We are aware and monitoring the situation," and that was the end of it. For ordinary people, the only source of truth became amateur astronomers posting their images online, piecing together patterns that governments refused to acknowledge. But the silence itself became the loudest message. When 9 active objects suddenly appear around the interstellar guest, and the world's most powerful agencies respond with censorship and secrecy, it is not reassurance. It is confirmation that what they know cannot be spoken aloud. Finally, orbital mechanics revealed a detail that could not be ignored. The three-eyed Atlas and its 9 satellites, along with the approaching giant Swan R2, were to align in a narrow solar corridor in mid-October. Their perihelions intersected for several days. The distance from the sun between them was less than 50 million kilometers. Such synchronicity is impossible for random objects. For those created by humans, it appears as planning. For many astronomers, it meant only one thing: a meeting. Whether it was refueling, data exchange, or something darker. The timing was impeccable, and the blackout window, when the sun blinded our telescopes, ensured that the most critical moments remained unseen. It seemed as if the very sky was speaking to keep us in ignorance, or worse, that the time was chosen specifically to hide the truth. For centuries, humanity has gazed at the night sky and imagined myths, dragons, fiery banners, omens of change. But what the James Webb Telescope, the Very Large Telescope, and the views of ordinary people with their home tools have revealed is not a myth, but a reality. The three-eyed Atlas is no longer a solitary mystery. He is surrounded by 9 smaller companions that radiate impossible power, maneuvering with precision and appearing not by chance, but as a result of deployment. In an instant, the solar system transformed from one interstellar object into 10. And this discovery changes everything. Because if these are probes, if they are machines, then they are not here just for nothing. They are here to act. Their synchronized movements, their directed impulses towards the moon, their strange resonant connection with the Earth's magnetic field, all indicate a mission that is still unfolding before our eyes. Add to this the Swanner convergence 2, which is 100 times greater than expected in the same corridor at the same time, and the silence of our institutions begins to be perceived not as caution, but as restraint. They know that something unusual is happening. They understand that it is not a coincidence, and choose silence instead of revealing information. We sought answers, but instead received questions deeper than any mysteries that science had prepared us for. We observe a convoy arriving to meet, a fleet following a schedule set long before our arrival. Are these escort ships guardians, scouts, or collectors? Is the moon itself part of a system we have never understood? The terrible truth may be that we cannot answer these questions ourselves, but they will answer on their terms and in their own time. The greatest fear is not that we discovered something extraterrestrial. The greatest fear is that this convoy has always been on its way to us, that its cycles have occurred before, and that humanity is only now advanced enough to notice. What if we were never the observers, but the observed? What if our telescopes did not reveal the secret of the three-eyed Atlas, but instead triggered the next phase of its mission? This is not a science fiction story. It is happening right now above our heads in real time. 10 synchronized, powerful, and determined objects make their way through our solar system. As they approach, one ominous possibility remains. Perhaps they are not just passing by. Perhaps they are here for us.